Hi everybody and welcome to an Age of Fantasy Skirmish battle report. The allied forces of Teniras have gathered to use their information obtained through the portal for a daring assassination attempt on the Necromancer. They have to approach unseen and as close to the castle entrance as possible. Scouts have discovered that there is a possible access way through watery tunnels and up through a well in the courtyard in front of the castle. The assassins must be small, agile, and able to operate in darkness. 3 unlikely heroes and their squads have volunteered for this mission. Faewynn has approved the mission, but she is doubtful about leaving the fate of Teniras in the hands of Ratmen, Saurians, and Goblins. And the heroes for this mission are a Goblin leader with a tough value of 3. He's a wizard and armed with a great weapon, and he has 3 goblins with him, all of them armed with spears. All of them are goblins from the Wolf clan, so they are fearless. Also with him is a gecko champion. Strider, armed with poisonous hand weapons and fireballers, and 3 geckos with Strider, poisonous hand weapons, and poisonous javelins, and they are also fearless. And finally, Ratmen, a battle master, armed with hand weapon, and he is fearless, and 3 Ratmen warriors armed with hand weapons. The Ratmen will deploy and try to take out all enemy units in the courtyard of the castle. The goblins will move silently along the right flank, and the geckos will charge the gate and try to reach the castle entrance. And guarding the entrance with its life is a great snake with impact, a tough value of 3, and poisonous snake fangs, and also a royal champion with a tough value of 3. He has a great weapon, and he is a herald that gives him the Ancient Wrath ability. And then we have 3 patrols of regular skeleton warriors armed with hand weapons, and 1 patrol of skeleton archers with cursed ammo. And they have deployed all over the battlefield. Some of them outside the inner castle gate, here at the guardhouse, and also in the ruined guardhouse, and some of them very close to the castle entrance and the houses surrounding the castle. And the mission is simple. Last force standing will be the winner. Let's go to round 1. And the Ratmen warriors will be the first unit to activate. They have to secure the area outside the castle gates, and they immediately charge this patrol of skeletons. And they have 3 attacks with their weapons. They need 5s to hit. And there will be 1 hit. And their weapons are AP nothing, but the skeletons have a rather weak defense of 5, so no defense, and 1 skeleton will bite the dust. The 2 remaining skeletons can now fight back. And they also need 5s to do something. So again, 1 hit. And the Ratmen also have a defense value of 5. We'll reroll that one, and it's a 2. So 1 Ratman down. In the end, this battle is tied, and the Ratmen will retreat. In the destroyed guardhouse, another patrol of skeletons will now charge, and they can reach the Ratmen with a 12-inch charge, and again they will have to roll 5s to do damage. 3 attacks. And this time, no skeletons will hit. The 2 Ratmen can fight back, but they are fatigued. They have already battled skeletons in this round, so they will need 6s to hit, and as expected, they will not be able to do any damage. This is a really tough mission for the forces trying to breach the castle. The geckos here have the Strider ability. They will easily pass the obstacles, and they will move 6 inches. And from this position, right at the castle gate, they will be able to throw their javelins at the skeleton archers, but they will need 6s because of the cover. But if they roll 6, the javelins are poisonous, so the hits will be multiplied with 3. So 3 hits coming in at the skeletons. So they must defend with rolls of 5, but that looks really good. Only 1 skeleton will be struck by the poisonous javelin and fall down from the archway and turn into dust. But they will immediately fire back. And they have cursed ammo, so they will ignore any modifiers. They will need 5s, but even though the ammo is cursed, they will hit nothing. Now the goblins' task is to secure the right flank. They will have to penetrate the castle defenses, sneaking through the ruined houses here. But they will encounter skeleton patrols on the way. They will take position here, even though they know they most likely will be attacked. They will ready their spears. And as expected, the skeletons will attack. And now it's important to remember that this battle report still uses the old 2nd edition rules, so the goblins have the phalanx ability, and the skeleton must avoid the spears, and they do. They pass the dangerous terrain test, so they can now attack the goblin warriors with rolls of 5, and 2 of the skeletons will hit with their hand weapons. They are AP nothing, but the goblins are not heavily armored, and they will both fail the defense rolls. 2 goblins will be chopped to pieces by the undead attackers, and 1 goblin will be able to fight back, but he is apparently too shocked to hit anything. But he is still standing, and the skeletons must back off. And now the Ratman Battlemaster will activate, and he might be the physically strongest unit. He will charge the skeletons, and he will only need a 4 to hit with his heavy hand weapon. And he will hit once, and it's AP 1. So it will take a defense roll of 6 for the skeletons to block, and they will fail. So 1 more skeleton will be killed. There's still 1 left, and that remaining skeleton will fight back against the Battlemaster. And again, it's fatigued and will fail with a roll of 3. And now that stubborn skeleton will charge, and for the 3rd time this round, battle a Ratman. And it will of course still need a roll of 6 to hit, and no, it's a 5. And the Ratman can also fight back, but he is of course also fatigued, but he will hit. With a roll of 6, he hits back, and the skeleton must defend. Not an easy task. It will take a defense roll of 6, so this one is very far off. So the Battlemaster takes down the 3rd and final skeleton in this squad, and it will take 1 wound. So now a roll on the wound chart, it's a 3, the skeleton is stunned. The goblin leader must try to save the right flank, so he will move, and from this position, in line of sight of the skeleton squad, he will cast a Death Shroud spell. And again, remember, these are the old rules, so he will not use the new caster rules, but never mind, he rolls a 1, so his magic fails completely. The great snake guarding the door to the castle senses danger, but it will not move close. It will stay in this defensive position, still guarding the castle entrance. And that leaves an activation to the Gecko champion. And he moves to this spot where he is able to see the skeletons guarding the entrance. And from here he can fire his firebola. He will need 6s to hit, and no. Nice try, but not a good result. So finally, the skeleton royal champion will move from the castle and out in the courtyard. And here he will be ready for what awaits in the next round. So far, the Ratmen battles skeletons here in the outer courtyard, and the geckos try to enter the castle with a frontal attack, and the goblins really have trouble on the right flank. And the Great Snake and the Royal Champion will still be holding back. Let's see what happens in round number 2. And it looks like a suicide move. The Gecko warriors will advance 6 inches through the castle gate. And from this position, they will be able to fire and reach the Great Snake with their javelins. They will need 5s to hit. And remember, they are poisonous. So they are looking for a roll of 6. Again, the old rules, the old poison rules. But they will only hit with 1 regular attack. The Great Snake will save with a 4, so the javelins will bounce off the snake skin. And now they could be in trouble. The Great Snake, of course, is annoyed, and it will charge. It only has 2 attacks, but it has impact 3. And again, here's a difference between the 2nd and the 3rd edition. Here, impact will automatically hit. So 3 hits already, and then 2 attacks. It will hit on a 4, so 1 additional hit. And it's AP nothing, but still the geckos must defend 4 hits with a roll of 5. And it looks like none of the defense rolls are good. 2 geckos will be killed immediately, and the final one will take 2 wounds and will now have to pass a check for wounds on the wound chart. If it rolls more than a 4, it will be, and it's a 4, it will be out. So the entire unit of geckos eliminated. It looks increasingly bad for the goblins, geckos, and ratmen. The goblin leader will try with magic once again, and again. He will fail. So now he can move with his regular charge action, and he will be able to reach the Great Snake. So he uses magic at the skeleton, but he charges the snake. He has a great weapon with 3 attacks, and he will hit on rolls of 5. So let's see if he is better with his weapon than his magic, and it looks like it. And that will really force the Great Snake to make high defense rolls of 6 to block. And it will not be able to block the Goblin leader's attacks. The Great Snake will take 2 wounds, not enough to kill it, but it's heavily wounded now. But, of course, the snake can now fight back. It has already fought, so it will take 6s to bite the Goblin, and it will not hit. So finally, the Goblin leader did some damage. The skeletons seem eager to finish the remaining Goblin warrior. They will charge again, and they have the full strength of 3 attacks, and they will hit with 1 of them. So the Goblin must roll a defense roll of 5. And no, the Goblin will take 1 wound, and that will take him down. Let's see the roll on the wound chart, if he can survive, or this will be the end of the Goblin warriors. No, he will be stunned. The Gecko champion will follow its warriors, and it will also charge the snake. 3 attacks, and it will hit with 1 of them, but it could be enough. If the snake fails the defense roll, and it does, so that hit will be good. The snake will be forced down with 3 wounds. And let's see if the snake is able to survive this. And here it is. It's a roll of 5. The Gecko will avenge the fallen warriors. The Great Snake is eliminated, and the path to the castle entrance is almost clear now. The 2 skeleton archers will target the stunned Goblin. If they hit, they can eliminate him and the unit, and that could be important when we talk about morale. And they are successful. The fallen Goblin will now be taken out for good, and the unit is eliminated. 1 more unit eliminated, and the goblins, ratmen, and geckos will be down to half strength. And while that happens, the Ratmen warriors will charge the stunned skeleton, taking him out, and they will consolidate and move on the other side of the rock here. And immediately after, they are charged by the skeleton unit, so they will attack 3 times, they will hit once, and the Ratmen must roll 5 or 6, and a 6 it is, so it's good. Now they can fight back. 2 attacks, and they will miss. So the skeletons will back off again. They really must get rid of these skeletons now and get into the real battle, so the battle master will charge the skeletons. He will hit with force, and he has 3 attacks. And he will hit with all 3 of them. It's AP 1, so the skeletons must roll 6 now. That could be enough to eliminate the entire skeleton unit. Let's see. There will be no rolls of 6, so 2 skeletons will be immediately destroyed, and the final skeleton will take 1 wound, and he will be forced to roll on the wound chart. Can the battle master wipe out? No, he can't. The skeleton is stunned, but still there. The final unit to activate is the Royal Champion, and he is too far away to charge. So question is, will he stay at a safe distance, or will he move closer? Well, he has self-confidence enough to block the way to the castle, right between the gargoyle statues. After the second round, the Ratmen are still battling skeletons in the outer courtyard. The goblin leader made a brave attack, and the gecko champion, together with the goblin leader, now faces 2 skeleton units and 1 royal champion. It's the third round. And where will the third round begin? If they take out the skeleton here, they will force the undead to below half strength. But the royal champion is by far the most dangerous enemy, so it could be a really good idea to attack him first. And for the third time, the goblin leader will try to cast Death Shroud. So it must be a unit within line of sight, and it will decide to cast the spell on the unit of skeleton archers. It will need a 4, and let's see if it's good this time. The spell is good. So now the skeleton archers will take 4 hits, and it will take defense rolls of 6 for them to block. And they will fail 3 of them, so that means 1 skeleton will be blasted away, and the remaining archer will take 2 wounds. And the roll on the wound chart, let's see, it's a 5. The unit of archers is destroyed by the goblin's magic, and now the goblin can charge as well, so it will charge the royal champion with its great weapon, 3 attacks, and it will hit on 5, so only 1 good hit, but it will force the royal champion to make a high defense roll. Otherwise, the champion will be wounded, and that is the case. 1 wound to the royal champion, but now it can fight back with a heavy hand weapon. 3 attacks, and it will hit on a 3. And 1, and only 1 hit. The goblin leader is really lucky here. And, well, he can't defend that hit, but he will only take 1 wound. It could have been far worse in this melee battle, but he will back off now. The full-strength squad of 3 skeleton warriors will charge the gecko champion. And they will, as usual, have 3 attacks. Hitting on rolls of 5, they will hit nothing. The Gecko champion can now fight back. Also 3 attacks with his hand weapon, but it's a poisonous hand weapon. And he will hit with 1 attack. AP nothing. And 1 skeleton will bite the dust. And now the Ratmen warriors will charge the stunned skeleton, removing the last piece of this squad, and they will force the undead below half strength. The royal champion has already fought, but again it will charge the goblin leader. It will have to roll 6, and 1 of the attacks is good. The goblin must defend with a roll of 6, and it will once again fail the defense roll, so now it's 2 wounds to the goblin leader. But again, the goblin leader can also fight back with 3 attacks, hitting on 6s. And there will also be a hit. They really exchange hits now, and the royal champion will take its 2nd wound. The Gecko champion has already fought, but it will forget all about the skeleton squad and instead move closer to the royal champion and target him with fire bolas. Rolls of 5 will swing burning bolas at the skeleton. And the Gecko champion will hit nothing. The Ratman Battlemaster and his warriors have completed their mission, so now he runs as fast as he can to aid his allies, but he is too far away. Now the undead will face morale check, and if they roll a 1 or a 2, they will be destroyed. So 1 skeleton warrior will fall apart, and now the royal champion, he rolls a 3, so he is good, and he will stay and fight the final round. The Ratmen have cleared the courtyard, and against all odds, the Gecko champion and the goblin leader have faced unspeakable undead horrors, but are still standing, battling the final challenge, the royal champion. But the undead will activate first in the 4th round. And the champion will target the goblin leader. He is the most dangerous unit with both magic attacks and regular attacks. So the royal champion will hit with rolls of 3. And he is furious, so he will get an extra attack. And that means a total of 3 hits. That looks impossible for the goblin leader. That will take 3 rolls of 6 to survive that. And it's just too much. The goblin is struck with 3 devastating hits, and that will take him to a total wounds of 5. And that will be almost impossible for him to survive. Let's see the roll on the wound chart. It will take a 2, and with a roll of 5, the brave, hard-fighting goblin leader will be dead. The Ratman Battlemaster realizes that he is too late, but he will still, in anger, charge against the royal champion and try to avenge the goblin leader. And with his charge here, he has 3 attacks, and he will hit on rolls of 4. And he really strikes his weapon into the royal champion with all his fury and anger. 3 hits, and it's AP 1. The royal champion must now roll 5s to block, and he will be overwhelmed with the power of the Ratman attack. And he will also take a total of 5 wounds. Is it the end of the royal champion, the final defender of the castle gate? It is. He's gone. And with his demise, the path to the castle is almost clear. Only 1 skeleton warrior remaining. The battlemaster will consolidate, And loyal and brainless, the final skeleton will charge the Gecko champion without any result. And the Gecko champion will of course face him in battle, and he will hit 3 times. They are really determined now. I think I can safely say this is the end of the skeleton leader. Well, actually he only fails 1 defense roll, but it is enough to take him down with 1 wound. And he rolls on the wound chart, and with a 5, the final skeleton is now destroyed. And it's silent again in the courtyard of the Necromancer's castle. No guards, no skeletons, and no horrors, only the castle gate in front of them. This unlikely alliance have breached the castle and against all odds defeated the Guardians. They will now have to decide if they will use the element of surprise to enter the castle immediately or wait for backup. I hope you enjoyed this battle report. If you did, please like and subscribe to the channel. And remember, this is the last battle report with the 2nd edition rules. From now on, it will be the 3rd edition. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope you'll join me for future bad reps.